What's up? Welcome in to Lambeau Speak, episode number 3. This is a Toilets to Titles production. I'm joined, as always, by my pal, Mr. Bobby Winters. How you doing tonight, pal?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing good. I'm I can tell everybody's maybe a little choppy running things. I got one arm. I'm in a sling here. I had some shoulder surgery yesterday, so feeling pretty good. Glad to be on the good side of things now. So here to talk a little football. So talk about our top 5 players by position groups in the NFC North, quarterback, running back, and defensive guys too. So you can find the show on Twitter at Toilets Titles. You can find myself on Twitter at Nate_Dirt19, and you can find Bobby at Bobby A Winter. So check us out, go follow, and give the show a follow too if you're not already doing so. You can find all our content, including all our articles, mock drafts, pretty much everything that we have on our website, toiletstyles.com. Check it out. If you're not, you're missing out. There is a multitude of content there, whether it's fantasy, college, or just regular NFL stuff. So if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button. We would appreciate that. And hitting the bell so you know when we go live. I know there's 4 or 5 shows that go live each week right now in the off season, and that will obviously ramp up come football time. Check out our sister network, College Football, or CFB Nation, for all your college football needs. Those guys there's always something going on with them. With the whole transfer portal and everything like that, it seems like there's always somebody going to a new school. So also, if you're listening to us on Apple, please give us a 5-star review. We would appreciate that. And the last thing real quick before we get going, if you want to interact with any of us, just talk NFL, college football, fantasy, gambling, really anything, get in our Gilded chat. You can holler at me or Coach Sheps. You can find him on Twitter at Coach Sheps from the Toilets Titles deal, or from their Twitter as well. And we'll get you in that Gilded chat. It's nonstop talking about pretty much anything, so it's a lot of fun. So, like I said, we're going to talk about our top 5 players by position group. We don't know what each other put down, so it'll be kind of fun. Luckily, Bobby joined PFF today, so we had a little more insight because I was kind of lost on a few of these. Just because, especially the first one we're talking about, it's interior defensive linemen. There's not some big 3-tech for any team in the NFC North. A guy that you're every time you play him, it's man, we got to really game plan around this guy. Right. There's not one of those.
No.
And I don't think that the defensive strength really becomes until we talk about the edge guys. Obviously, there's some really good edge players in the NFC North, but we'll get started with the interior guys. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. You're talking about interior defense or interior offense?
Defense.
Yeah, sure. So this was actually one of the position groups I struggled with. Kenny Clark has been good. He's a Pro Bowler in the past, but while going through these 4 teams, I've realized that not just with the Packers, but literally all 4 teams, there's some position groups that are really weak in this entire division. And interior defensive line is one of them. I kind of struggled with putting Kenny Clark at the top of the list because for so long he's been so good at penetrating and rushing from the interior, but his run grade has been awful. I mean, it should start he's the Packers nose tackle. You would think that he would be stout against the run, and he's not quite as stout, even just compared to all the other teams in the division. As you mentioned with the PFF grades and everything, I mean, he was bottom tier run grade, and it was shocking to see. Because everything we hear about Kenny Clark, he's so good. He's so good. He was so young when he got drafted. He's going to grow into this great player, and he really has. But the run game is really where he could stand to improve a ton. So I do have him top 2. I actually have Kairos Tonga at number 1. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He was drafted by the Bears I think 2 years ago, 7th round pick. He ended up getting waived by the Bears. He spent a little bit of time on the Falcons practice squad before he was signed by the Vikings. He ended up playing in the last 11 games for the Vikings and has the number 1 PFF grade for all the interior defensive linemen by PFF. So I looked into it a little bit more and I'm like, okay, why is this guy graded out so well? He's stout against the run. He had 10 pressures in 11 games and had half of a sack, which is great because, I mean, he literally came up from another team's practice squad, came up and just started to produce. Some places think that he's the next breakout player for the Minnesota Vikings, and I agree. So that's why I have him at number 1. Number 2, Kenny Clark, for the reasons I had mentioned. He's a Pro Bowler. He's excellent at rushing the passer from the interior. He's just an all-around great player that could probably stand to improve a little bit against the run. Number 3, I have Andrew Billings. Andrew Billings, again, just another stout run defender. Another one who actually I wanted to put at number 3, but I think he's going to rise is Aleem McNeil from the Lions. It seems like the 2 games he played against the Packers, he was dominant in both of those games. I think he's a young player on the rise. He's a good all-around defensive lineman as well. And then lastly, I had Harrison Phillips. What did you have?
So that's actually super close. I actually had Kenny Clark number 1, just because, like, I don't know. You see so many promising things from him throughout the years, and there's some great, and then obviously some things that just leave you wanting more. I had Kyrus Tonga second, so I have no problem flipping those, and then we can, for our consensus, we'll just have. And I had Billings as number 3, and it was hard. I kept looking, for Bears players, because like just as poor as they were against, whether it was a run, just like the Packers are horrible against the run, but their pass rush was poor, but I tried to watch some guys like somebody that would kind of like, they would take, bring on some double teams and things like that. And I think that he will get better. But I had Aleem McNeil, my 4th as well. Could have had a number 3. And then I actually had TJ Slate number 5, because I've been excited to watch him. I think he's gotten better every year. And I think that he has the ability to continue to, to be on the upswing. So I don't care the 5th guy. I'm pretty,
honestly, I completely agree with you. I struggled putting TJ Slayton on there.
I don't because I be a homer and have just all Packers,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So TJ Slayton, like, I agree. I think he showed flashes as a rookie last year. He clearly showed improvement. So he could be one of those players just every year gets better and better and better. Kind of like Mike Daniels. Remember Mike Daniels?
Oh yeah. I love big Mike Daniels.
Oh, me too. Yeah. He's from Jersey actually too. He grew up a couple towns over from where I grew up. Yeah. So nice. If you wanted to put TJ Slayton at 5, I'd be okay with that. And I understand that putting Kyrus Tonga at 1 was really more of a projection. Kenny Clark is clearly the more proven player, and he's still very young. So I would be okay with putting Tonga at 2. And then if you wanted to put, all right, awesome. All right, who are we doing next?
Edge rushers.
Okay.
So I'll go first, and this was tough. I have Rashawn Gary at number 1, only because I think Aiden Hutchinson is phenomenal, and he's going to continue to only get better. But I think right now that Hutchinson still has some time to go, and I think Gary, once he gets back from the ACL, will continue where he left off. But that's the only reason I have him ahead of Aiden Hutchinson. I think pure talent wise, Aiden Hutchinson probably is more talented. He is, he's a force and he's fun to watch. But those are my top 2 guys for edge. And then Danielle Hunter at number 3 probably could have been higher, but that's just kind of where I have him. I'm not sure why I have him that low. It was hard. Like I said, it's tough with Aiden Hutchinson and Rashawn Gary. I have Preston Smith at number 4. I just think when Gary comes back, it takes pressure off of him, and he played well in Gary's absence anyways. And then my 5th guy is the guy that I think he was one of the steals of the draft. I call him, JJ Nagbari, whatever, Kingsley, whatever you want to call him.
Kingsley, yeah.
I think, for some reason he was going by JJ, and then it was Kingsley. I don't know which one to call him.
Dude, anyways, Kingsley's such a cool name, man. Why would you not want to go by Kingsley?
I don't know. I remember when they drafted him out of South Carolina, and he's going to be a project, but I thought he showed so much last year. And I agree. One of the steals of the draft, if you asked me 2 years ago. And I really do think he's probably one of the top 5 edge rushers in the division, just because he showed so much and it's only going up.
Yeah. I'm really excited about him too. And it's funny, actually, we have the same top 3, but in a different order. So I had Danielle Hunter at number 1.
Yep.
And like you said, you don't know why he had him so low, and it's because he feels like he should be higher. I kind of had that same mentality, so I left him at 1. The reason I didn't put him at 2 and Rashawn Gary at 1 is because even with an ACL tear, there's no guarantee that you'll come back and be just as athletic as you were. Now, I know that it's gotten better over the years. Some people say that after their ACL surgery, they feel better than they did before it, but it's not a certainty. And because of that uncertainty, I put him at number 2, but he's like a 1B
I'm good with that.
to Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson at number 3, just supremely talented, just like Rashawn Gary. I think those 3 are very close. I had, of course, Preston Smith at number 4, just old, reliable. He's, he turns it up. It seems like he gets all of his sacks on third down. He's just a great player. And I actually had Marcus Davenport at number 5.
Okay, that was my other one.
It was
He's probably the right one for that.
Yeah, it was between him and Kingsley Anibari. And the only reason I put Davenport at 5 is because maybe he just needed a change of scenery. The New Orleans Saints really overdrafted him. Ironically, they traded up with the Packers to draft him 5 years ago. And we ended up getting that extra first round pick, and we took Jair Alexander, which turned out to be pretty nice for us.
Kind of worked out for us.
Yeah. It was like the greatest trade ever. But I think that maybe Marcus Davenport with a change of scenery and being in a starting role over there could produce. So again, that's a projection, but I think Kingsley Anibari would also sort of be a projection as well. But yeah, that's why I have him at 5.
No, and he was the other guy I looked at. It was kind of a coin flip, and I think it was just with Kingsley was like what he did last year when Rashawn Gary went down. It was like, holy shit, man! Like I said, steal the draft. Like just a guy that a day 3 pick that you were like, okay, he's a project. We'll see what happens. Then you just kept watching. I'm like, man, like he's everywhere, and it didn't ever seem like he was completely like not where he's supposed to be. You know what I mean? You watch a lot like these rookies, and all of a sudden it's like, where the hell is he? You know what I mean? You're looking all over it. I didn't see that happen a lot. But anyways, I'm good with either way. I think you're kind of right, Marcus Davenport. I think he will do better in his new, in the new role. So moving on to the linebackers, and you can go first, you want. I'll tell you why I got mine like I did. So
all right. So I'm just going to go through them really quickly, and then I'll talk about them. All right. So number 1, Tremaine Edmonds. Number 2, Devondre Campbell. Number 3, TJ Edwards. Number 4, Jordan Hicks. Number 5, the rookie, Jack Campbell. So obviously you don't know what Jack Campbell's going to do, but he was, a really good prospect taken in the first round. A lot of places had him as a first round linebacker. So, I think that he could squeak into the top 5. Devondre Campbell. So Devondre Campbell was all pro 2 years ago. Last year, I think he might've been hampered a little bit by bringing along our first round linebacker, Quay Walker. Quay Walker on PFF was the lowest graded linebacker in the entire NFC North. That includes backup linebackers, everything. He had a very, very poor grade against the run. It's like a 20 or something. It was insanely low. And I think that Devondre Campbell kind of got caught up in babysitting him a little bit. Now, towards the end, Quay really started to turn it on. But, he kept having these bonehead mistakes, like, pushing people and stuff like that, getting ejected from games, which hopefully he can clear up. Maybe if he starts to put it together, he could be eventually on this top 5 list. But I think Tremaine Edmonds, he's just so good in coverage, and he's such a good all-around linebacker that the Bears are going to know how to use him. And I project him to probably be the best linebacker, unless Devondre Campbell can return back to form. But again, he had one all-pro year after really like going unnoticed with Atlanta for 4 years. So I don't know if it was just like he had a great year or if it's something that he can replicate. So that's why I had to put him at number 2.
Yeah. So my list, I had Devondre Campbell at 1 and Tremaine Edmonds at 2. And the only reason I had Edmonds at 2 is just because of his injury, the injury history a little bit. But Campbell was also, like I said, last year was kind of like good, bad, good, bad. You never knew. And I kind of think too, like you said, helping Quay along. And Tremaine Edmonds he probably is the better. I mean, I remember watching him in Buffalo. He's a stud.
He's awesome.
I could have him at number 1. And then I had TJ Edwards at number 3. I couldn't have those 1 and 2 together.
Right.
But they are very good. I actually had Quay Walker at number 4. I think this year is going to be a make or break year for him. I know, obviously, he's not going to get cut, but I don't know. And I know LaFleur's not going to he won't do that. But if he was a real coach and he did a bunch of dumb shit again, get the hell out of here. We're not doing this. And I don't know if that's him or Barry, probably more so Barry, because he's a dipshit too. So, but I just think talent wise, and you saw flashes of phenomenal play,
absolutely,
and what you expect out of a first rounder. So that's why I have him at number 4, and then I have Jordan Hicks at number 5. I didn't put Jack Campbell in there. I could have, and that Jack Sanborn too. I liked him a lot last year for the Bears. I just don't know where he's going to play this year, with TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds there. So I didn't have him in the top 5. And then Malcolm Rodriguez too for the Lions. I think it's going to hurt that Jack Campbell's there now, but in my opinion, he deserves some playing time. And then Alex Anzalone, I think too, is always there, always making plays. But, I think those top 3, if you went Edmonds, Campbell, Edwards, and then I could do Hicks at 4. Quay Walker to me, I think he makes that step this year and shows that he's not just some dipshit. I'm not going to do dumb stuff anymore. Yeah. I hope, anyways, because we need him
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because if he plays well, that'll free up Devondre Campbell to play to his full potential. And then, imagine having 2 stud off-ball linebackers. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, and he's a guy. He's so fast and just like I said, if he just gets his head out of his ass, I think he'll be doing just fine.
For sure.
So moving on, cornerback. And I will say, so one guy that I have as a cornerback, he's more of a nickel corner, and he played a bunch of safety last year because they had some injuries for the Eagles. Surprise, surprise. He's a Detroit Lion now.
So you have him at corner.
He's he on their depth chart. He's a nickel corner.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And that's where he likes to play anyways. And that's where he played down the stretch for the Eagles when I think Bradbury came back off the injury. I think it was Bradbury. I can't remember, but he naturally he is a nickel corner, but you probably have him as a safety.
I did.
That's what he is on TF.
Yeah.
And, we can, I don't care which one you want to put him.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the best in the division, regardless of which it is.
I agree.
But my cornerbacks, number 1, Jay Alexander, without a doubt. That's pretty obvious. It goes without saying. 2, I had CJ, or I call him CJ, GJ, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Yep. Like you said, on their depth chart, because that's where I had to look to make sure he is their nickel corner. But PFF has him as graded as a safety because he played there a bunch last year. So I don't care what we put him at. He's obviously in the top 5. Number 2, he's probably number 1 if you go off safety, but I don't care where we put him. Number 3, I had Rasul Douglas. I think he's continued to get better since joining the Packers, and I think he will continue to be better. I don't know if – I don't think you can put him in the nickel corner spot and put Eric Stokes back on the outside till he proves he's better than Rasul Douglas. Yeah. And I think Stokes will be great. He's not on my top 5, obviously. Maybe one day. I hope so anyways.
Yeah.
Number 4, I had Jalen Johnson, and 5, I had Cam Sutton. And it was tough for me to not have I just forgot the other Bears corner that I wanted to put down. I can't remember. I just forgot his name now. But
Jack Sanborn.
I felt pretty good.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
Tariq Stevenson.
No, that's not who it was. Maybe it wasn't him. There was another one that I had there that I can't remember who it was now. But I don't know. I was kind of – my top 3 were pretty easy for me. And if Gardner Johnson, we do put him at a safety, that's fine. We can just kind of move some guys around. But what do you have for your cornerbacks?
Well, actually, you make a great point because while you were talking, I did just look up their depth chart, and they actually have him listed as a corner, but not as the starting corner. He's the second team corner, according to ESPN.
Because he's like their nickel corner. So he doesn't technically start when they're running their base defense, but when the nickel's out there, he's out there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So we actually had the same top 4 with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson not being in it. So I had Jair Alexander at 1, Rasul Douglas at 2, which according to PFF, those were the top 2 graded in the entire division as well. So that's not homerism. Rasul Douglas is that guy. Jai Alexander
what a pickup. I hate Gutekunst, but goddamn, that was a good pickup.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give him credit, man. He is on the edges of the roster. He has picked up some players that have turned into valuable pickups. I mean, Rasul Douglas, Devondre Campbell, Keyshawn Nixon, Preston. Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of them. And that's stuff that Ted Thompson didn't typically do. Ted Thompson was usually building through the draft, maybe one or two players off the street like that. But Gutekunst has shown that if he feels that there's a weakness on the team, and even if it's a slight upgrade, it's worth taking a chance on a player. And sometimes they turn into Devondre Campbell, So back to my lineup, number 3, Jalen Johnson, number 4, Cam Sutton, and number 5, I had Byron Murphy. So if we wanted to leave Byron Murphy off and put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I would probably have him at number 2 as well. I think
that's where he is. Like I said, I know last year he played a ton of safety and he still kicked ass at safety, but he is a corner and he's a really, really
phenomenal
player
that
makes that Lions defense a ton better. And he's probably one of the best trash talkers in the NFL.
Oh, elite. Yeah. Top 10 trash talker in the league for sure.
Getting in fights at practice with guys I don't really want that, but he's bringing the heat.
Yeah. I mean, it's entertaining to watch, but maybe not so great as a teammate because clearly he's on his 3rd team in 3 years. So, all right. So now my safety list is one short. Are we doing safeties next?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I had Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as my number 1 safety. So clearly that's no longer the case. So I had Eddie Jackson at 2. We're 1 now. Harrison Smith, Kirby Joseph, and Jaquan Brisker. Notice how there was no Packers players on there.
Rudy Ford can be your 5th.
It's funny that you say Rudy Ford because guess who was the 3rd highest graded safety by PFF?
By Rudy Ford.
Rudy Ford.
I don't know what happened to Darnell Savage. He just forgot how to play football, I think.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can figure it back out again.
Yeah. So Darnell Savage was the lowest graded safety in the entire division by PFF.
He played like shit. There were games where I was get him off the field. It looked like he just didn't even be there. I'll miss Adrian Amos.
Me too. He just signed with the Jets today. Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, he was probably on Rodgers' list.
It could have been. Yeah. They're turning into the Green Bay East over there.
Yeah. So I had Harrison Smith, number 1, and I could have Eddie Jackson. I think Eddie Jackson probably is the better player. Harrison Smith's just been doing it for so long, and he's a guy that every time we play the Vikings, it seems like he plays well. And I mean, week in, week out, he's playing well. Just so uber consistent over the last 10 years or something. Yeah. I mean, I think he's got to be in his 30s, isn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he wasn't going to come back, but when they hired Flores reached out to him, and he said that because Flores reached out, that's why he was going to come back.
Well, so anyways, I'd be good with having Eddie Jackson number 1. I have him 2. I actually had Rudy Ford as my 3rd corner or 3rd safety, and then I had Jaquan Brisker and Kirby Joseph. But I can put Rudy Ford last because it was kind of a toss up with those other guys. I hate putting Kirby Joseph on there because he picked off Rodgers in that game.
That's why he had to make the list.
He's 2.5 hours. He went to school 2.5 hours down the road from me. So got to cheer for him a little bit. But that Jaquan Brisker was fun to watch last year for the Bears. I think he's going to get better as the time goes on and help that defense out. But yeah, I think if we go Eddie Jackson 1, Harrison Smith 2, Brisker, Joseph, and then Rudy Ford 5.
Yeah, that works.
That work? Okay.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, that seems pretty. I think that I like that. Real quick before we get on to the offense, if you do want to support the team and become a member of our Patreon, patreon.com/shortstitles, we would really, really appreciate that. If you're already a follower, thank you so much. Or not a follower, but if you're already a member of the Patreon, we appreciate it. Like you would not believe, helps keeps the lights on. There's 5 different tiers, and I would assume they'll probably get upgraded as we go. $3, $5, $7.50, $10, and $20. I don't need to go into those in depth. But if you do want to join now, $5 gets you into the listener league guaranteed, which we're talking about a bunch right now in our Gilded chat. $7.50 gets you one-on-one draft advice, DFS advice as well. I forgot the $3 one gets you, it's like our base one. in-season waiver wire episodes. I don't know if we're going to change that up this year, how we did them. Last year it was kind of everybody put in some guys and a couple of us would record them. They're actually a lot of fun to record those episodes and kind of talk about the guys that are on there, see how you did the week before. So, but there's usually a ton of guys on that waiver wire episode that are, whether it's they're going to be great this week, some of them are the week after. There's people looking at it all. So, and then a $10 Patreon gets you a free entry into the Frankenstein League, which is a $25 listener league anyways. So that's a $15 savings if you're a mathematician like myself. And then $20 gets you one-on-one roster analysis and a 30-minute episode on your league's draft. So it's pretty cool and a lot of fun, actually. So moving to the offensive side of the ball, we'll start with tackles. It was tough, and it was kind of hard too, because it was like, do you put guys, obviously like left tackle is like the spot, but there's some guys that are good right tackles I think should be playing left tackle maybe. Yeah. I'll go first. So Bakhtiari, number one. I just think I don't know if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He probably should be. Seems like he's just been set. The injury was tough for the last kind of year and a half. Like it was like, is he playing? Is he not playing? He seems like he's back. Yeah. If he is, in my opinion, he's the best tackle in the division, probably one of the better tackles in the league. I know his grade on PFF I looked wasn't the highest one, but like I said, last year was kind of an anomaly, I believe.
I agree.
It just seemed like the injury, he didn't feel right, wasn't back. I remember at one point during the season, I was like, you know what, man, if you're not going to go, like, just let's find somewhere else for you, like another team. Like, I mean, because it was like he didn't trust it. And I've never torn an ACL, but he obviously counts on that every single day. But I got him number one. Penny Sewell at 2, probably easily could have been number 1, but if he only plays right tackle, so he could play left tackle, I'm sure. He is phenomenal.
Yeah, he played left tackle in college. He was incredible.
Yeah. And I have his counterpart, Taylor Decker, as number 3. Except I don't know. I feel like they should switch. That's just me, though. Number 4, I have Christian Darrisaw. I thought he was the only good thing the Vikings line had going for it, really. I mean, to an extent, but when he wasn't out there, they struggled. And so I like him a lot. 5th, I actually had Zach Tom. I thought he played really, really well. And I know he didn't play all the time at right tackle, but I think he will this year.
I agree.
With Billy Turner being gone, I think it's got to be Zach Tom. So I think that, going ahead this year, I think he is the guy. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of subject to wherever, though, if you've got more hardcore feelings about some guys.
You don't need to be. We have the exact same top 5.
No, we don't. Really?
Swear to God.
Yeah, nice. Hey, that's easy.
First time.
It is.
I agree.
I wanted to put the right tackle for the Bears. I forgot his name. The kid they drafted out of Tennessee. But I don't know what to think. Those, and he's going to be my 5th guy, where I had Zach Tom instead. Why did I just forget his name? I had him on my list, actually, for a while.
I was considering Brian O'Neill.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think Zach Tom, clearly, I mean, he's already in OTAs and everything, already taken the starting right tackle reps. So I think they clearly saw what they have in him. He was drafted in the 4th round. He had a little bit of shorter arms, but I mean, it was the same thing with David Bakhtiari. If you could play, you could play. Sometimes you have the measurables and you can play. Sometimes you have the measurables and you can't play. You just don't put it together. Sometimes you don't have the measurables, but you're just a damn good football player. And it's Zach Tom. So that's why I believe he should be number 5.
I like it. And like I said, the kid, is it Darnell Wright, whatever that who they drafted out of Tennessee, the Bears?
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. And his tape, it's good. I mean,
Sure.
Will Anderson got his shit beat by him. He had a hell of a time. He's going to be great, but I don't know yet. And so that's why I kind of was like, I'll leave him off.
It's tough with offensive linemen coming right into the league because you don't know if they're going to hit the ground running, because they're going from blocking college athletes to grown ass men, so it's a little different. So that's why I was a little bit more hesitant about making projections with the offensive tackles.
Yeah. Interior offensive linemen. So I know you said you did centers by themselves.
Yeah, but that I can do it right now. Number 1, Frank Ragnow, dude's a hoss. Yeah. So whether you put him at center, guard, or whatever, interior offensive line, Frank Ragnow is number one. Number two, Elton Jenkins. And he's very close number two.
He's my favorite Packer, actually. That's the jersey I want to buy this year.
Yeah, he's awesome. Just his versatility to play all over the offensive line.
Exactly.
I know that when they put him out at right tackle at the beginning of the year and stuff, that he wasn't playing quite as well. I think he's really found his home at guard. But still having the flexibility and the versatility to play at other spots makes him a very valuable player. Number three, I had Ezra Cleveland, who I was pretty high on when he was coming out in the draft. And I think he started to put it together towards the end of the year last year. Number four, Garrett Bradbury. And then lastly, I would probably say John Runyon Jr., and that's just because of his pass blocking. He's an excellent pass blocking guard. He needs to get a little bit more stout and a little bit more powerful in the run. He is the Packers' lowest graded run defender, run blocking blocker on the offensive line. So, I mean, that's really just one place. I mean, if you can pass block, it's so much harder to teach somebody to pass block than it is to get them to get better at run blocking. Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, he has obviously roots in the NFL. His father played in the NFL. I feel like he's a player who can put it together. He's gotten better and better every year. He's already got the hard part down. He's just got to get a little bit better at run blocking.
Oh yeah. So mine is very close to yours. I had Elton Jenkins one just because the versatility, and Frank Ragnow is a monster. He probably deserves to be number one. My thing with Elton Jenkins is just, was that 2 years ago? When our center went down, I just forgot who it was because it wasn't Josh Myers. Wouldn't have been
Corey Linsley,
or it was Corey Linsley. And Elton Jenkins came in and didn't miss a beat at center, and that's not an easy thing to do. And he can play tackle. And he's a phenomenal guard, like you said. I think that's his home. But that's why he's number one for me. Is just the versatility he brings. Is you can't have enough of that. A guy that can literally play every spot on the offensive line. And like I said, when he switched to center, I was like, oh shit, there was no fumbled snaps. There wasn't anything. He didn't miss a beat.
No, and he's incredible. And honestly, you can easily convince me to make him one in Frank Ragnow too. Frank Ragnow is a great player though.
Yeah. So I have, mine goes Jenkins, then Ragnow. Number three, I had Ezra Cleveland like you did. I actually had Tevin Jenkins at number four. I thought he kind of had a slow start with a shitty offensive line anyways. I liked him at Oklahoma State. You forgot about him, didn't you?
I completely forgot about Tevin Jenkins. I would like to put Tevin Jenkins on there. Sorry, John Runyon. Yeah, you're off.
Actually, I have John Runyon 5. And
Tevin
you do?
Jenkins 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and so it's the same reason like you said with John Runyon. The pass blocking is so good. And I think he's only going to get better. But Tevin Jenkins, like I said, coming out of college, was a big fan. I loved watching Oklahoma State. And I think he's only going to get better. He was injured his rookie year.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when the line just sucks.
Right.
And I think they've done some things to help a little bit. And I think it'll only make him better. That's why I have him at 4 and John Runyon at 5.
Okay. Yeah. I can't believe I left Tevin Jenkins off. And I was thinking about him too, because I was so high on him during the draft when he was drafted, 2 years ago now? When the Bears took him, I was like, oh man, don't you hate when you see your guys going to a rival team? That was a blow to me.
That broke my heart for years was Roquan Smith. I remember him getting drafted from Georgia to the Bears, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And then when he left, went to the Ravens, I was really happy. But that one hurt probably the most because he was a huge Roquan. And I loved Alshon Jeffrey too.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't really matter because he didn't really pan out. But still,
my number one, Justin Jefferson. I wanted them to take JJ so bad. And we got Jordan Love instead.
Hey, this is the year to see if it worked out.
Yeah, for sure. We're about to find out.
All right. So going on to quarterback. So I sent a text earlier because I was like, are we talking fantasy or real life? Because if this is fantasy, obviously, Justin Fields is number one, but it's not. This is real life. So I got Kirk Cousins as number one. He's consistent year in, year out, and he's kind of shown he can do a little more. Obviously, they put more weapons around him. Took Dalvin Cook away, which I think is going to hurt, but they must not think so. So I got Cousins 1. Justin Fields, I have him at number 2. If he takes a step as a passer, that'll actually hurt his fantasy value because he won't run as much. But I'm not sure if it will. I mean, there's the skill. Some of them are there, but some of them aren't. It was tough for me, but he has some intangibles that I like a lot. I actually have Jordan Love 3 because I think Jared Goff's kind of trash. I know everybody's like, oh, he's really great. He's been to a Super Bowl. Well, that's because Sean McVay talked him through the whole thing, and if you get in that guy's face, if you watch him, like he gets out of sorts in a hurry. And I actually do have a guy, PJ Walker is number 5, the Bears backup quarterback, because he's won NFL games. That guy, if they need him to win a game, he can do it. I mean, but I'm fine with having 4 guys, but
okay.
That's the only team that actually has a legit backup that has won in the NFL.
That's true. I mean, we have the same
actually,
top 2.
The Minnesota Vikings have Nick Mullins, and he actually won games too. So I'm cool with either one of those guys being number 5. But I'm a big PJ Walker guy. He was fun to watch, when he's playing the XFL and when he's on the Panthers. So either one.
Yeah. So I had Kirk at number 1, Justin Fields at number 2.
You got to call him Kissing Cousins. That's the
Kissing
rule.
Cousins. Yeah, that is a great name. So I have Jared Goff at 3 and Jordan Love at 4. And the reason I have that is because of your rationale. Jared Goff has won games in the NFL and Jordan Love has not.
Yep. So he should probably be 5.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do 5. So that's why I had him at 4. I wasn't going to put a backup quarterback on the list. But, obviously we don't know, right?
No.
Like we don't know. We have no idea how this year is going to go. No. Like it could go great. It could, like I know what I'm expecting. I'm expecting, if you watched last week's episode, I'm expecting 9-8, but would I be surprised if they go 6-11? No, so we'll see.
Yep. I'm good with that. I kind of went in a weird order here. I probably could have done quarterback last, but it's not that exciting this year to me because we don't know. There's so many unknowns.
There's no star power in the quarterback position in this division for the first time
Fields, ever. Sort of. If he has Chicago, he's MVP. They already got the statue built and the parade's playing for the Super Bowl. So 3 wins to a Super Bowl. Watch him. Tight end. I got TJ Hawkinson number 1. I think that's pretty obvious. He is. I can't believe the Lions traded him in division. That is wild to me to trade a guy of that caliber to a division rival. Yeah. I went Cole Kmet at number 2. He's shown quite a bit, and I think he's going to continue to be better. Justin Fields, I think, needs to use him more. I've watched a lot of, one read, kind of like, that's all we're doing. I'm running. And I think they need to kind of help him out with that, and using Cole Kmet would help. I have Luke Musgrave, number 3. Excited to see what he can do. Sam Laporta at number 4, but I could probably have him at 3. I think those guys it'll be fun to see how they do throughout the year. And I have Robert Tonyan 5. I think a lot of his success was due to Aaron. And so I think we will see, but there's not really any other guys in the division that I thought would maybe Tucker Kraft. I think he could do better, but Tonyan obviously has some skills, but I think like I said, a lot was from Aaron. So where are you at?
Same top 5 again.
Nice. Hey, That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it means that we're seeing the players similarly. And TJ Hawkinson is by far the number 1 in the division.
Oh yeah. He's so good. God, when I saw that trade on my phone, I was like, what in the hell? This isn't somebody said something wrong. That's not right.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think of to rationalize it is they must have already started doing their draft prep for the year and saw all these tight ends that were coming out. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, we can grab one of these guys and replicate what TJ Hawkinson's producing. I mean, obviously the ceiling for TJ Hawkinson is so high, that's why he was drafted so high. What was it, 4 years ago?
Yeah, same class. It was him and Noah Fant, and there's somebody else that got drafted too, wasn't another guy?
Yeah,
in that
can't
class.
Remember the third one. Was it David Njoku?
No,
that was a year prior.
Either Dawson Knox or the dude from Alabama that I can't remember his name now. Irv Smith.
Yeah, he was taken in the beginning of the second by the Vikings. Actually, they're both.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where he is now. Bills?
Me neither.
No, he's not a Bill. because they drafted a kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's not in the division, so.
No. But, yeah, and like I said, I'm curious to see how Tunyon does in the Bears offense. Obviously Kmet is the more talented tight end, I think, but
agreed.
Tunyon showed 2 years ago before he got hurt. It was like, who's this guy?
Right.
The Indiana State Sycamore is showing out. So it was
because Aaron Rodgers was playing with his hair on fire for the whole year.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Running backs. Go first.
All right. Gladly. Aaron Jones at number 1.
Of course. That's same here.
Indisputed number 1. And at number 2, I actually have Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's supremely talented. I think he actually shows a lot of Aaron Jones in his game. That was my comp for him coming out this year. Number 3, I have A.J. Dillon. Then next, Alexander Madison. And then lastly, David Montgomery. Your boy, David Montgomery.
Don't call him that. I liked him as a Cyclone for a little while. So I have Aaron Jones at 1. I actually had A.J. Dillon at 2. I think this year is going to be – and it's Gibbs, like you said, the talent is there. I just don't know what to expect production-wise. Like we said last week with Jamal Williams, like that's not going to happen again. I don't see any running back. I don't even think a running back in the whole NFL scoring 17 touchdowns. Like that's not normal. Sure, maybe somebody does, but I just think they're going to beat the brakes off Dillon and Jones both. Like they're going to have to run the ball. Hopefully they put them on the field together.
That'd be nice.
I actually have Khalil Herbert number 3. I thought he was great. I'm nervous though that he's not Eberflus's guy. I'm surprised they kind of even kept him around, to be honest. But I just thought he's looked great. And, when Montgomery is down, he was the guy. And I think he should still be the guy. But I don't know if – I don't know. I like him for number 3. We can kick him off, whatever. I have Alexander Madison number 4. Not sure what he will do with the lead back role. I think he'll be okay. I don't know though. It's a weird. I mean, Dalvin Cook was a monster, and those are big shoes to fill. I had Jahmyr Gibbs number 5, but I could move him up easily. I just am not sure what to think about that offense, and if he's going to get the like DeAndre Swift role, and then Montgomery's going to come in and get a bunch of touches. But I could be swayed to have him at number 2 and Dillon 3. And I wanted to put Roschon Johnson on the list too, because I loved him at Texas. And I'm curious to see how they involve him in the offense, because I think he's going to get some run too. I don't think that they're going to not put him out there. But
I've kind of come around. I think maybe my own bias for Jahmyr Gibbs was probably showing. So I think having A.J. Dillon at 2, Jahmyr Gibbs maybe at 3.
Okay. Yep.
Alexander Madison 4, and then one of the 2 guys that you liked at 5.
Herbert.
Okay.
Who was your 5th? Who was the guy you had in there that
David Montgomery?
Oh, well, I mean, it probably should be him because I think that he's a Dan Campbell kind of guy. I think that there's a reason he got him up there. And I don't know if it probably, I think he'll run well with that offensive line. That like we've said almost every week, probably how good that offensive line is. I think that helps him a lot. Herbert for me, like I just said, I'm nervous about if he's their guy, or not. So yeah, I can do that. I think like I said, Jones, Dillon, Gibbs, Madison, Montgomery, I think is a solid for me.
Yeah.
So receivers, the fun part. You can go first.
All right.
We're probably pretty similar here.
This is our last position group, right?
It is. I asked if you want to do kick returner, and I said we can't just have Keyshawn Nixon be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So,
I mean, that's what I would have put. Yeah. So exactly. So number 1, no surprise, Justin Jefferson. Which actually, to my surprise, he was not the number 1 graded wide receiver by PFF.
Yeah, I thought that was a bunch of BS when I read that. I was like, "There's no way he's not like."
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, that's what it said.
I don't get it.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, me neither. Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 2. Christian Watson, number 3. DJ Moore, number 4. Darnell Mooney, number 5.
Oh, I have Jordan Addison, number 5.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, because I think I don't know. Mooney was good. I think it helps having DJ Moore there to take some heat off. But I have a hard time putting another Bear receiver on there because of Fields' shortcomings in the passing game, which hopefully, I guess I don't want to say hopefully it gets better, but I mean, it should get better. Obviously, no Chase Claypool. I think he's garbage.
I completely agree. Do you remember on Twitter? Sorry, go ahead.
Was it where somebody said that, that he was like the 32nd pick and Christian Watson was like 34th pick or something, and they were trying to compare those two?
Yeah, that. And then also remember, like the Packers were apparently in on him, right? But then when they found out that the asking price was a second-round pick, they were like, nah, we're out. And they were like, oh, you couldn't spend a second-round pick to get help for your quarterback. And it's like, yeah, not on him. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No
shit. Like,
I'm not spending a second-round pick on somebody who's not going to be top 5 in the division. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
he's supposed to be a proven player.
Yeah. I think Jordan Addison fits in well with what, for Kirk Cousins. I think he's a great receiver. I hated to see them draft another great receiver after they got rid of Adam Thielen. And I don't think KJ Osborne's going to go anywhere. Obviously not a top 5 guy just because of St. Brown and even Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, some quality receivers for the Lions too. But I think we're pretty spot on with our top 4. I can go either way with 5, whether it's Mooney or Addison. I just trust Cousins more. And I think that they're going to put Addison, I think they have a spot for him. And I think he's going to produce for the Vikings. And I think talent-wise, he has, more better pedigree than Mooney does. That's the only reason I have him 5, and Cousins. So,
honestly, I struggled to put him on there because obviously he's so talented in college. And I think you kind of just sold me on it. I think he deserves the 5th spot over Darnell Mooney.
Okay. Yeah. And that whole Jefferson and St. Brown thing with the PFF grade was very wild to me.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Justin Jefferson's probably one of the best. He's obviously top 5 or top 3 in the league. That guy is so good. Yeah. So St. Brown's no slouch. And I think Christian Watson, we've only seen the beginning, and that's not me just being a homer. I think, he's the real deal. And I've loved DJ Moore since college. I know he leaves kind of leaves you wanting more, but he's just a solid receiver. He's always there. And I think it kind of stinks he had to go to the Bears, but
poor guy. He can't get a solid quarterback to throw him the ball his entire career.
Never.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
It's a shame.
So that's it for all our position groups. We're going to post those on Twitter. The guys have been doing that from all our other shows. Speaking of them, check them out. There's a Cowboys show that records every Sunday morning, Giants show on Wednesday nights. There was a IDP show going on right now. It's Tuesday night. Our regular show, the Toilet Styles flagship, is Tuesday nights. They were talking breakout players this year. I made a bathroom board bet with Coach on the live chat because he was talking about Trey Lance. I don't think Trey Lance starts a game this year for the San Francisco 49ers. So.
Really?
No, he stinks. They got Sam Darnold for a reason, because he's not ready. Year away from being a year away. Been saying it.
That's been his entire career.
Yeah. So check out all our shows. Like I said, hit that bell on YouTube so you know when we go live. Please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/toiletstyles, and our website, toiletstyles.com. And if you could throw us an Apple review, we would appreciate that. If I can get this, my computer's kind of screwed. Like I said, I'm still trying to do things one-handed, and it's just tough to get to the right deal here. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these videos to the side.